Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about the different scenarios for a projectile motion question. Okay, so the first one, let's say you have the classic one. So let's say there's someone on the cliff and they've thrown a ball upwards and that ball came downwards. So you could be asked a lot of questions here, but it's very important to analyze what's happening in this question, right? So you have to know, okay, so what's happening up and down. So first things first, well, you have to the key point here that would solve the question is if you're given this height, let's say, okay, and let's say you've started at somewhere and you've given, for example, the height with the person, so you could add that, let's say x plus h, and then this height could be where the ball is the distance on the vertical axis, right? So for example, let's say the vertical on the axis is called r, y, and this could be x plus h, right? And this could be in the negative direction because it's going down. So this is one variable. The second one, let's say the acceleration is negative 9.81 meters per second squared. Also, you could figure out that you could take the, here, you had your VI, y as being 0 meters per second, right? Or you could measure it here. Here you have your VI, y equals 0 meters per second. Or you could see that this is the VF where it's 0 at this direction. So you could play around with this. The second one could be that you have a horizontal motion, right? So for example, we have this cliff right here, and you have something that's been thrown out of that. Okay, so let's say you have here something that is something is thrown in this direction. Okay, so for this one, there's no, there's some vertical. There is the vertical component, but it's been going this direction the whole time. So that is your Vx. Your velocity on the x direction is the same. It doesn't change. Here at the beginning, the initial, the final is equal to the initial. It's the same thing, didn't change on the x direction. However, it did change on the y direction because you would have the acceleration. That's pointing downwards. Here, acceleration downwards, accelerating downwards, and you have that negative acceleration, negative 9.81 meters per second squared. Right? So this is some of the types. The other one is the vertical motion, or the verticals, right? Or you may have an angle. So let's say you have this right here, and you have someone here, and that's throwing a ball on this direction, going all the way down, right? So for here, you would have an angle. And so this angle would account for a velocity. So let's say that's your VI. And so your VI have two components. You're going to have VIY and VIX. And these two would differentiate what we have, right? So the VIX do not change. It's the same for all of them. But VIY does change. Okay, so that's VIY. That's your VIY. It gets bigger. That's your VIY. That's your VIY until it hits the ground, which is right here, right? So these are some different examples of some projectile motion questions. I hope this was helpful. Feel free to comment below if you have any questions. Thank you so much. Have a good day.